Hello, my name is BHarper, and I'm excited to be stepping into my first principal role this fall. As I begin this new chapter, I look forward to using the Learning Forward standards to guide professional learning, strengthen educator practice, and improve outcomes for all students. In this presentation, I will provide an overview of the Learning Forward standards for professional learning and discuss how these 11 standards support continuous growth, collaboration, and school improvement. The Learning Forward standards are organized into three interconnected categories: rigorous content for each learner, transformational processes, and conditions for success. The rigorous content for each learner standards focus on what educators need to know and do to support student learning. The transformational processes standards focus on how professional learning is designed, implemented, and evaluated. Finally, the conditions for success standards describe the organizational structures and supports necessary for professional learning to thrive. Together, these 11 standards create a comprehensive framework that promotes educator effectiveness and improved outcomes for students. The first three standards within the framework fall into the rigorous content for each learner category. The first standard is learning practices, and it emphasizes the importance of understanding students as individuals. Educators should recognize students' backgrounds, experiences, strengths, and communities while creating learning environments that are responsive and inclusive. Learning practices encourages educators to remove barriers to learning, build on student assets, personalize instruction, and foster strong relationships with students and families. This standard is especially important because when students feel seen, valued, understood, and connected, they're more likely to engage in learning and experience academic success. Standard 2 is curriculum assessment and instruction. The curriculum assessment and instruction standard focuses on ensuring that teaching and learning remain aligned. Educators are expected to use high-quality curriculum materials, implement standards-based instruction, and utilize assessments to monitor student learning and inform instructional decisions. One of the most important aspects of this standard is the use of data to guide teaching practices and improve outcomes. When curriculum, assessment, and instruction work together cohesively, students receive more consistent and rigorous learning experiences, and educators are better equipped to meet student needs. Standard 3 is professional expertise. This standard recognizes that educators must continuously develop their professional knowledge and skills. Just as we expect our students to be lifelong learners, we must be willing to do the same. This standard encourages educators to apply research and professional standards to their work, engage in ongoing learning, collaborate with colleagues, and pursue expertise related to their specific roles. Professional growth should not occur in isolation. Instead, educators should work together to strengthen their practices and ensure alignment with school and district goals. Ultimately, investing in professional expertise strengthens educator effectiveness and positively impacts student achievement. Standards 4 through 7 fall within the transformational processes category. Standard 4 is learning drivers. Focuses on the learning driver standard focuses on the beliefs, perspectives, and attitudes that influence educators are encouraged to reflect on their own assumptions, engage in respectful dialogue, and seek diverse perspectives. This standard also emphasizes examining data and evidence to identify barriers to learning and prioritize barriers to learning. Learning drivers is important because meaningful improvement learning drivers is important because meaningful improvement begins with new perspectives that can enhance teaching and learning. Standards 4 through 7 fall within the transformation. Standard 5 is evidence. The evidence standard highlights the importance of using data, research, and evidence to guide professional learning. Educators should gather information from multiple sources, analyze trends, monitor progress towards goals, and evaluate the impact of professional learning initiatives. Rather than relying on assumptions, schools should use evidence to determine what is working and where adjustments may be needed. This approach helps ensure that professional learning remains focused, relevant, and effective in improving educator practice and student outcomes. Standard 6 is learning designs. This standard focuses on how professional learning experiences are planned and structured. Effective professional learning should be grounded in research, aligned with educator and student needs, and designed around clear goals. This standard emphasizes providing opportunities for practice, feedback, reflection, and application rather than relying solely on one-time workshops. When professional learning is thoughtfully designed, educators are more likely to implement new strategies successfully and sustain growth over time. Standard 7 is implementation. Implementation focuses on turning learning into action. Even the best professional learning experiences will have limited impact if educators are not supported during implementation. This standard emphasizes change management, ongoing feedback, collaboration, coaching, and continuous refinement of practice. Implementation is important because sustainable improvement requires ongoing support, monitoring, and opportunities for reflection. Successful implementation leads to meaningful changes in both educator practices and student achievement. Standards 8 through 11 fall under the Conditions for Success category. Standard 8 is Learning Foundations. This standard focuses on creating the conditions necessary for professional growth. Schools and districts should establish high expectations for learning, ensure equitable access to professional learning opportunities, and provide the resources and support educators need to succeed. This standard also highlights the importance of trust, collaboration, and a positive professional culture. When strong foundations are in place, educators are more likely to engage in meaningful learning and continuous improvement. Standard 9 is Culture of Collaborative Inquiry. This standard emphasizes learning through collaboration. Educators should regularly work together to analyze data, solve problems, reflect on practice, learn from each other, and identify ways to improve outcomes for students. The standard promotes collective efficacy, which is the shared belief that educators working together can positively impact student achievement. By creating a culture of inquiry and shared responsibility, schools can foster continuous learning and stronger outcomes for all students. Standard 10 is leadership. The leadership standard recognizes that leadership for professional learning can occur at all levels of an organization or school. Leaders establish a vision for professional learning, align learning opportunities with organizational goals, provide support and resources, and advocate for ongoing growth. This standard is particularly meaningful in schools because professional learning is most successful when leaders actively participate in and support the learning process. Strong leadership creates a shared focus on continuous improvement and helps sustain effective practices over time. And lastly, Standard 11 is resources. Effective professional learning requires strategic investments of time, funding, personnel, technology, and materials. Leaders must make thoughtful decisions about how resources are allocated to ensure they align with student and educator needs. This standard also emphasizes monitoring the impact of resource investments to determine whether they are producing the desired outcomes. When resources are used strategically, professional learning becomes more effective, equitable, and sustainable. As we reflect on the Learning Forward standards, it becomes clear that none of these standards operate independently. Instead, they work together to create a comprehensive system that supports educator growth and student success. The standards provide guidance for what educators should learn, how professional learning should be designed and implemented, and what conditions must exist for learning to be successful. When professional learning is collaborative, evidence based, sustained, and focused on student outcomes, it has the power to improve teaching, strengthen collaboration, and create meaningful change across schools and districts. As educational leaders, these standards provide a valuable roadmap for building professional learning systems that truly impact students. Thank you for taking the time to view this presentation on the Learning Forward Standards for Professional Learning. These standards provide a practical and research-based framework for supporting educator growth and improving outcomes for all students. As I step into my new role as principal, I hope to use these standards to guide our professional learning, strengthen collaboration among staff, and build a culture of continuous improvement. My goal is to create meaningful learning opportunities for teachers that are aligned to student needs, grounded in evidence, and focused on improving instruction. By implementing these standards, I believe we can continue growing as educators while ensuring every student has access to high quality learning experiences. Thank you for listening.